Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, I want to talk about one of the biggest questions that I always get. How long will it take to repair my credit? How long will it take to repair my credit? People ask us that all the time. And this is the thing, is that it's different for everybody's situation is different. Yours may take longer, yours may get repaired faster, but there's also some questions that we always like to ask when we're working with clients, because what is the reason why you need to repair your credit? Some people just want to, clean it up. They're tired of living with bad credit. They know that having good credit is the foundation of you being able to move forward in your life. They know that employers look at your credit. They know that if you have bad credit, you're going to pay more for credit cards. You're going to pay, if you can even get approved, you're going to pay more on car loans. You're going to pay more if you can get approved for a mortgage. So with that being said, we know that we just live in a credit society, and that if you're going to be able to move forward and build wealth for yourself and your family, that it starts with your credit. So people always say, well, how long will it take? And that's based on what you're trying to do. So I'm going to this is a good one here. This is a business client that came to me last week, and he said, hey, I need to get this taken care of because I want to buy a car. And he's like, he went to the dealership and they were like, well, you could get the car, but you're going to be paying a high interest rate. Now, let me just tell you, this individual is a business owner. He owns a very nice company, actually took it over from his parents when they retired. And he has money, but his credit is tore up. And when I was doing his review, this is his review here, I was like, number one, I told him, I was just flat out, hey, I was like, man, you're in too good of a financial situation to be having credit look like this. His credit scores is 626. Now, this is a person that has a lot of money. So he has a 626, 606, and a 622. So I was like, okay, we need to look at what's making your score in that level. And yes, you're not going to be able to get anything with a nice interest rate walking around with your credit score at that level. So here's the breakdown, and this is what I saw in his review, and then I'm going to give an estimate on how long it's going to take to get this repaired based off of what his goals are. So other people may have different goals. Well, I'll just talk about it in the video, so just follow me here. So we know that this is where his scores are. After I did the review, I found that he had one alias name. Just in case you don't know what an alias name would be, if you look at your credit report, you will see that your name may be misspelled. They may have your, if you're married, maiden name, or just mainly we see this with misspelling. People just, this can happen from when you fill out the application, the sales rep or whoever punched it into the computer made a mistake, and it just ended up being in there. It gets corrected when they do when they approve you for the loan, or maybe you don't get approved and that information is just sitting in there the wrong way. And when I looked at this, he has a weird last name, a name that's not common, and it was misspelled. And then also he has a name that some people could have a short name, or it could be a long name. I'm not going to say his name on here, but like sometimes people can have a first name that you can also put another word together, and if you can get what I'm saying. And like Gregory or Greg. So, but when you're looking at that on the credit report, they look at that as also known as, or formerly, it states on here, formerly known as or also known as. That's considered an alias. And creditors, because it's not being looked at by an individual, it's being looked at by computers. Computers have algorithms written, and they're just going to spit out, hey, this individual could be out there getting credit under this name or this name, those alias names. So the first thing that we would want to do, or one of the things that we would be doing, is not one of the first, it's something that we would take care of, is we would get this taken care of. We want to get those alias names out of there. They shouldn't be in there. It was mistakes that were made by other people. This client did not put his name in there that way. So we want to have that removed. We want to have his name the same across the board. The way that it is on his driver's license is the way that we want to have it across the board. The next thing that we saw is that it had 6 old addresses. We want to get rid of those old addresses. We just don't want to have that information in there anymore, because that could tie you. Number one, it could tie you to other stuff that might be out there where someone could have committed ID theft. Maybe you lived at an apartment somewhere. Someone got a credit card offer that was sent to your old address that didn't get forwarded, because after a certain period of time, the U.S. postal system will stop forwarding your mail, and maybe someone got it and they utilized that to get a credit card or something in your name, and it looks like it's verified because you used to live at that old address, and all of a sudden you have ID theft against you, and you're wondering, well, hey, I'm at this address, how is it going to that address? And the creditors, they're looking at it as, hey, you used to live at that address also. We don't know. Maybe you used that old address to get this card and you're claiming ID theft. So you want to make sure that you, number one, just get rid of all of those old addresses. There's no reason to keep those old addresses sitting on your credit reports. What these do, these right here are just where in the algorithm, it just makes the algorithm work harder, and it gives them access to more information that you don't need the algorithm looking for by having that old stuff on there. The next thing is it had 1 negative paid closed account. Now, you might be saying, well, why is that information still on there? This was not just a regular collection. This was an actual mortgage. The mortgage did eventually get paid, but it was in bad shape for 2 years. I don't know what was going on with it. I'm gonna, in my next consultation with him, I'm going to ask him what was going on. But regardless, that account was paid, and it was actually paid in full. So this account, we will work on getting this account fully removed off of his credit reports. And the way I think that the way that it shows on his credit reports is that his scores will actually jump up when we get this account taken off. Some of the times when I always warn clients that if you have a negative account that gets removed, you might have had positive information, and then you had some negative, and then you might have had some positive and negative, positive. And when they remove that account, they're going to remove all of it. They're not going to just remove the negative information, and that can make your scores go down sometimes. But the way that this one looks on his report, because he had so many months, I'm talking about it looks like it was about 2 years of trouble that he was going through, that when this gets taken off, his scores will jump up. I don't know how much it'll jump up, but it will definitely jump up. Now, the next thing that that I saw on there is that he had 4 medical collections. So now we all know that the rules have changed when it comes to medical bills even being reported on an individual's credit report, but we still see this on tons of people's credit reports. In case you didn't know, no medical bill can be reported on your credit reports that's under $500. That's under $500. It doesn't make the medical debt go away. It's just that after we came out of COVID, Congress enacted that no medical bill under $500 could be reported on your credit reports. But we still see this widespread all over. We get them every day, and we see this on there. So the first thing is that we want to get them removed. All of the ones that are 500 and under, we want to automatically get removed. We want to get those removed. Now, based off of what he told me he wants to do when he gets his credit repaired, because he wants to go out and get a new vehicle at a good interest rate, is that the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to settle these medical accounts. Now, there was one on there, though, that was about $4,000. It was $4,000. So what we would do is we would contact that medical provider and we would start a negotiation of back and forth based off of, based off of his situation. Now, if let's just say that you wasn't a person who had a business and you didn't have a lot of money to where you could just, settle this. He came to me and he said, "Hey, Steve, I will just settle it, pay the whole amount. Just set it up for me because he's busy running his business." And I said, "Just hold on a second. What we'll do is my staff will get the power of attorney signed by you, and then we will contact them and we will work out a deal with them." I'm estimating that we're probably looking at the service that he had provided. We probably will get out of there with about a $2,500 settlement, and that would be good for him and saving him potentially a couple of $1,000s, and he would be, good to go, because he needs to continue utilizing that service with the medical provider. And just so you know, insurance companies do this all the time, so you don't have to feel bad about negotiating with hospitals or negotiating with doctors. Medical providers, insurance companies do this all of the time. All you have to do is just call them up and you can negotiate. Most of the time, if you don't know how to do the negotiation, they're going to try to get you set up with payments and you pay the whole amount. But there's a strategy that we use to be able to get medical providers to just say, "Hey, let's settle this account." So with the other medical accounts, we're gonna get those. We're gonna get them all removed, but we're gonna also do settlements on those. They were a lot smaller, but we want to do settlements on those because the main goal of his is to be able to, number one, get his scores up and to be able to go get that vehicle. Now, I'm going to talk about this from the aspect of an individual who doesn't have the money. Maybe you have a similar situation, but you don't have money. And I'm going to tell you the option that you would have is, number one, you want to get this stuff removed off your credit reports. You want to get it removed off your credit reports. And then what we would do in that case, and this is gonna be quick. So to close this out, we could potentially get all of this done. I would say worst case scenario, 3 months. The settlements could be done within 1 month. It could be done in 1 month, and the medical removals could be done in 1 month. Sometimes it may take 2 months. So this one, I would say this is going to be about a 3-month deal. Now, let's just say that you don't have the money. You need to get your credit repaired because you know that having good credit is the foundation of being able to build wealth. And you're coming to us and you're saying, "How long will it take to repair how long will it take to repair my credit?" This is your situation. You have a similar situation that he has. With this information here, this is going to be 2 to 3 months to get this stuff removed. Working on doing the settlements for the accounts, that's going to be based off of your financial situation. That's why we'll tell people, hey, it could take you a little bit longer to resolve everything. One of the misconceptions that people have is that they think about only what the credit score is showing, and they never think about what underwriters can find out about you with what doesn't show on your credit, the actual credit sheet that you can see. Underwriters can see more. So this is why I say that my company does credit repair from A to Z, because at some point, and we talk to our clients about this, and that is why we do the review. Like I'm going to write it out right here real quick, because I think that this is important. I think that this is important. I wasn't going to even get in. I wasn't going to even get into this part. I wasn't going to even get into this part. So, see, other credit repair companies, this is what they do. Well, this is what we all do. Is that we're going to dispute the negatives. we're going to try to figure out whatever solutions we can to resolve them. I got this spelled wrong. And I think that I'm not going to say that other credit repair companies don't try to do that. But let me tell you what makes us different. This is the biggest thing. This is the biggest thing that makes us different than all of the other companies, is that the furnishers. Now, even when you talk to Lexington Law, even when you talk to any other credit repair company, they will say, well, we have, I think Lexington Law says that they have furnisher interactions, or I don't know what they have some word that they call it. This is what we do with furnishers. How about this? How about challenging the furnisher's information? How about getting on calls with the furnishers? How about doing potential settlements with furnishers? How about court response if you're being sued to furnishers? Like, think about the value of having this here. This is your team. This is your team with mailing. This is your team with calls. Like, just imagine having someone call on your behalf and say, this is the situation of our client. What are you willing to do? How can we work this out? Or you haven't proven with the documents. We need more documents so we can see what's going on. And you take that furnisher down that whole chain, and then they find something where it's either a technicality or something that doesn't allow them to continue coming after you for that account. How about what type of value is that? What about settlements? So you say that you need to buy a house. I need to buy a car. I need to get my family in a better situation. I need to deal with this stuff. So instead of you calling and saying something wrong, what if you have a company that calls for you and says, hey, like this client, he owes $4,000, but let's work out a deal. Let's work out a deal. Maybe we want to offer $1,000, $1,500. We want to make this debt go away. We want to get it off the credit reports, but we also don't want to have any payments. We want to try to settle on a lump sum. Or if you have to have payments, let's set up a payment arrangement that is affordable for the client rather than them going to court and getting a judgment, and then they're able to make a decision on doing 25% of your account. We've done this so many times where clients have came to us, they were going to be sued, they were going to lose. Like, it was just going to be, when you look at the documents, it's like, hey, they're going to win. This is not looking good in your favor. And if they win, they're going to be able to garnish you every week. How about this? What if we propose, instead of them taking $400 a month, what if we propose $100 or $200? What if we could get them to get the furnisher to accept that? And when I say furnisher, the creditor, what if we can get them to accept that? And would that help you? Would that take pressure off of you? Will that relieve the pressure and allow you to be able to maintain your household? And clients will be like, yeah, if you could do that, it would be, it would be like a dream come true, because I can see how I can move forward. Number one, how they can move forward without having that pain and that frustration in their mind. And then number two, just being able to move forward because they know that it's not going to be, make it detrimental to their finances by paying the garnishment amount. And then also saving the judgment. Like, we've done this so many times where we said, okay, we know that you have a court date set up. We're going to do that response. If it looks like there's going to be a situation where, hey, they're going to be able to prove this whole thing, and based off of what the client is looking to do also. Like, some clients are just looking to just fight. Some clients are like, hey, I got to get my family out of that apartment. We want to get our own house. We don't want to deal with landlords anymore. So we're not going to take that person down a trail of like, hey, let's fight something that you potentially could lose. let's just go ahead and just resolve it. You know that you had the account. Let's just go ahead and resolve it so you can get that house. That's why it's, when you answer that question about how long will it take to repair my credit, that's based, a lot of that is going to be based off of what your goals are. And your goal can't just be a surface one of, hey, I just want to have a high credit score. There's always something that you want to get, something that you want to do for yourself and your family. So let's keep that in mind. This stuff here is what other credit repair companies do not do. And this is like a huge value, because I say that this is where, right here, is like where a lot of the major work happens, because a lot of stuff can fall off of your credit reports by just doing these things here with the furnishers, but you have to do it a certain way, or it could just get messed up. And when I say a certain way, is that you don't want to send them information to give them information to be able to continue collecting from you if it's something that a debt collector has purchased. If it's an original creditor, then you're trying to figure out what they're going to do with the debt. Maybe you're going to send, maybe you want to have a hardship sent to them to try to force them into doing a 1099-C. Maybe you want to express your hardship so you can get payments. I had a client, he just called me yesterday. He called me yesterday. I like doing this because this is like real world stuff. So for everyone that's still here, just thank you. But and also I do this because this is like how like I run this through my mind when I'm working with clients. Like I gotta, look at their situation. Let's run it through our. I like to call them funnels of to repair their credit. It's like, if this person has this situation, what have we done for other clients, and how can we get this stuff resolved? I had a client. He called me yesterday. Another business client. To tell you what happened to him, he was in the diamond business. He was selling diamonds before COVID hit, and he had gotten checks for, I think it was like $160,000 from an individual that was like, I guess he was like the middle person. He would sell them to people who would go around and sell them to stores, to the jewelry stores. And right before COVID hit, right when COVID hit, the diamond business, jewelry, all businesses took a big hit, but his took an extreme hit. That individual wrote those bad checks, and it just put him in a bad situation. And he came to me at that time, and he was like, "Steve, this is my situation. Everybody said for you to come, to just come to you." And so and a lot of the businesses, they do come to me. And when he came to me, he had 13 credit cards. And he was utilizing the credit cards to finance his business. And this is something that I had learned with doing business in the community here, on how people are financing their businesses. And this is actually a technique of where people are utilizing other people's money to make money. Now, we're not going to get into that in this video. I just want to break down on what we were able to do for him. And you can always go to my channel, Making Money with Stephen A. Williams, to see how to make money. So he came to me and he was like, I got all of these credit cards. And I said, well, okay, understanding that he has a business, I said, what's the situation of the business? He said he thinks the business is going to close, that it's just going to close. And I said, okay, if it's going to close, what's your situation? He said, I own my house. And then I said, well, if you're going to have zero income, and these credit cards added up to be a little under $100,000. So he was at about 100K. We'll just keep that as a round number. He was at 100K with these 13 cards. He has his house, married. He was under an enormous amount of stress. And I'm going to put this here for a reason, because when I finish out this story, you're going to see, when I talked to him yesterday, the stress was gone. But just to let you know, this guy was under stress. He would text me He would call. He said he couldn't sleep. It was very bad. And I said, well, if you are not able to make it, you're not going to have an income, maybe you might have to look at filing bankruptcy. And this is not, I don't say this as advice. I say you might end up needing to file bankruptcy because you don't want to make yourself sick. You don't want to end up doing something to harm yourself or your family over the money that you just might need to, reset. Bankruptcy is a way to reset. You will be able to keep your car, you'll be able to keep your house, and just reset. That's what it's there for. And he said that his religion did not allow him to file bankruptcy. He said that his religion would not allow him to file bankruptcy, that he had to figure out a way to pay what he owed. So he was like, hey, okay. I said, okay, now I know your whole situation. I know where you're at. And so now let's figure out a solution. And the solution was to settle every one of the cards. Now, just so you know, how long did it take to repair his credit? He's in the 700s now. He just broke in the 700s, but he has 3 cards left that we're settling. 10 are settled. 10 are settled. And what was the other thing? So, yeah, 3 cards are still remaining. He has 700s across the board. TransUnion Equifax Experience, 700 scores. 3 cards remaining, 10 settled. And it's been 2 years. The years go by fast. It's probably about to go into 3 years because it happened right when COVID hit. He called me about 6 months, maybe a little bit more, about 8 months into COVID, because I didn't go to my office at all for about 6 months. And I remember that when I went back into my office, I remember getting that call. So we're about to be, I would say, let's just say 2.5 years. 2.5 years. So you got 100K, 2.5 years to get to that success, 700 credit score, 3 cards remaining that we got to settle, 10 cards are settled. Average settlement was 25% to 40% on the settlement. You're asking, well, if he lost his business, how was he able to do that? He works as an accountant for a major corporation. He went back, instead of working for himself, he went and found a job working for a company, and you better believe he's paying that money. He saved his house, saved his marriage, because he was very worried about the marriage and the stress. When I talked to him, obviously we didn't have to worry about the bankruptcy. And with the religion, before I get into the stress, with the religion, with one of the cards, 2 of the cards that he had, they actually utilized an individual that was kind of playing on his religion. They were like, you're supposed to pay your debts and all of this stuff. They would call him and actually do that. And then when we started taking the calls, we kind of put an end to that. And also for all of these companies, we pushed hardship letters. None of them were sold to debt collectors. All of these were maintained by the original creditor. And the reason why they were maintained by the original creditor was because he had actually started conversations with the original creditors, and they had hope that he was going to be paying, and also they knew that it was business type cards. Some of the times they would just sell them off to debt collectors, but this was a situation, I've never really seen this before, where the original creditors, still to this day, they have all 13, they have all of the cards. I did tell him, because of the 3 that are still remaining, because we had those on hold, that I wanted him to call them to make sure. And the reason why I had him call instead of us call is because he would be able to answer the privacy information and then to find out what they've done with those. Because at some point, maybe, because it's been a while, been 2.5 years, it's been a while, that they may have chosen to sell them. Also, when he first came into the situation and contacted me, none of the cards had actually charged off. So that was another thing. So some of the times people may be saying, well, okay, how long will it take to repair my credit? If your cards have not charged off, then you're still going to be working with the original creditors, and they may not be able to settle until those cards charge off. They'll try to make you work out payment arrangements, and that's what I know for in particular. One of them was Discover Card. Before we had to just say, hey, you're going to have to stop paying them so they can charge off, and then we can start this negotiation. And that's how we were able to start getting the 25 and 40%. So I know sometimes people can be in a rush. They could be like, hey, I want to, I got these credit card debts. For example, I got these credit card debts. I want to just do settlements. Credit card company is not allowed to do a settlement on the account until it charges off. They can work out a payment arrangement. They can do all types of stuff. They will not do a settlement, and that is because that would be a legal violation on their part, because they would be lying about their books. They would be saying that this is a performing account when it's not a performing account. So we got all of that stuff resolved. 2.5 years, 700 scores, still working on 3 cards, but right here, this stress. When I talked to him, and this was kind of a little strange too when I had talked to him. I didn't want to remind him, but I went ahead and reminded him just because normally with a regular client, I mostly would not remind him, but because I also know him as a business owner, is that I went ahead and reminded him because, and this is a good lesson, this is an excellent lesson for you, is that once you get through all of this stuff, once you make it to that other side, all of us do this, we tend to forget all of the stresses that we had when we were going through it. And this is an excellent lesson and I was telling him this through the whole process. I said that you just got to set aside that stress, that this is just what you're going through right now. This is not you. Don't believe them when they try to make you feel a certain way. Don't sit there and just turn in the bed and not be able to sleep. Live your life and know that this is the plan that we have to try to work your way through this. Think more about working the plan, not about the stresses that you have to get the plan accomplished. But when I talked to him yesterday, he was like a new person. He was like, hey, my scores are up. I only have 3 cards that we're worried about. I see that I'm going to be able to get through this. He was talking about buying a new house, getting a newer, bigger house for himself and his family. I think they have 4 kids. Like it was a total 360 on his attitude, and that because that stress was relieved. And you better bet, during the whole time through the process, month after month after month, sometimes days and weeks, he was calling, he was texting, he was worried, he was, how long does it have to take? All of this stuff, he was going through all of that. And what I was telling him is that you gotta just work the plan based off of what you came to me with, what you came to the credit repair shop with. This is the way that we're going to have to work it, and you're going to have to just stick through it. And I cannot tell you how quick this would be, because we're going to be working mainly with getting settlements with these creditors. And also during the 25 and 40%, he was not able to start making big chunk payments until he was secured and had got his feet under him with his new corporate job that he was working at. All right, so thank you. This is like real deal stuff. This is real deal stuff. For everyone that's still here watching the video, thank you, because this is like real deal stuff. This is why I do it. Like, it's like it's like working a Rubik's Cube. This is what we do for clients. And every time that we get this accomplished for somebody, it just puts a smile on my face, because it's like these are huge, huge milestones for individuals when they're able to see their way through something like this. It takes a lot of brain power. It takes a lot of courage to not quit. It takes a lot of fortitude to just not quit on yourself and try to find some other quick fix. Like the fix that I told him, I said, this is what we're going to have to do to repair your credit. He stayed on the path, and we have another success story. I'm going to be seeing if he's willing to go on video. He's kind of a shy type individual, but I'm going to see if he's willing to do a testimony on video. So if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com. Grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters. Statute of limitations letter for debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect in your state. Cease and desist collection activities letter to stop debt collectors when they're sending you that first letter. This is going to ask them questions that they may not be able to answer, and they are not prepared for you to ask them these questions because they're just thinking you're just going to run from the debt. It can potentially make your debt go away. And a debt validation letter for the back and forth if they try to continue coming back and forth. These 3 letters save time, money, frustration. I mean, they have worked wonders for people. If you get the free pack, please make a donation. I understand money might be tight, but please make a donation. They're very well worth it. I also have a pack that's $29.95 if you have the financial means to be able to get those. Those letters will work for you, and they're a little bit more updated. Thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel, post your questions and comments. I've been in there a lot more doing that, and make sure that you go to our Wednesday lives. We're going to keep doing those as long as I'm able to make time. It's going to be Wednesday at noon Central time. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.